Has Iran just infiltrated a key U.S. Arab ally as Trump threatens new strikes, using IRGC commandos to probe Gulf defenses while talks hang by a thread? IRGC commandos allegedly caught sneaking into a strategic Gulf island. Were they testing how far Tehran can push covert operations inside America's partners' territory? Arab nations are slamming what they call an IRGC covert operation, while Iran blames it on a navigation failure. So was this a planned mission or a convenient excuse? As Iran expands its claimed Hormuz strategic zone, is another key Gulf island now at risk of becoming the next flashpoint in the shadow war at sea? The UAE and Kuwait have condemned what they describe as an attempted infiltration of Kuwait's Bubiyan Island by members of Iran's Revolutionary Guard Corps Navy. The UAE foreign minister held a phone call with his Kuwaiti counterpart to discuss the incident in detail, and both ministers publicly slammed the alleged IRGC operation. This diplomatic push came after Kuwait announced the arrest of 4 alleged IRGC naval officials, who were detained on suspicion of trying to infiltrate Kuwaiti territory. Kuwaiti authorities said the men traveled by sea on a specially chartered fishing boat, which they allege was used to covertly reach the island area. The incident reportedly occurred on May 1 near Bubiyan Island, a strategically important location close to key shipping lanes and Kuwaiti military sites. Kuwait has stated that the suspects were tasked with hostile actions and infiltration missions, suggesting a planned intelligence or special operations role. According to Kuwaiti reports, the detained group included 2 IRGC colonels, a captain and a first lieutenant, indicating that relatively senior officers were involved. Officials in Kuwait also said a firefight broke out during the confrontation on Bubiyan, as security forces attempted to detain the group. One Kuwaiti service member was reportedly wounded in this exchange of gunfire, highlighting the seriousness of the clash. Kuwait said that 2 additional suspects, including an Iranian naval captain, managed to escape during the incident and are still being sought. Iran has formally rejected Kuwait's allegations and demanded the immediate release of the 4 detained men, framing the arrests as unjustified. Tehran has claimed that the Iranians entered Kuwaiti waters only because of a navigation system failure, portraying the incident as an accident rather than a mission. Iranian officials have denied that the episode formed part of any covert or military infiltration operation against Kuwait. In response, Kuwait has described the alleged incursion as a flagrant violation of its national sovereignty and territorial integrity. Kuwaiti authorities summoned Iran's ambassador in Kuwait City and handed over a formal diplomatic protest note over the incident. Kuwait has also reported intercepting hostile drones in its airspace earlier this week, adding to its concerns about cross-border threats. The UAE and Bahrain have both publicly backed Kuwait, voicing support for its security concerns and its right to take any necessary measures to defend its territory. The UAE reportedly carried out direct military strikes on Iran without publicly acknowledging them, according to a Wall Street Journal report citing people familiar with the matter. The report says the UAE became an active combatant in a war in which Iran had also made it one of its biggest targets. The Wall Street Journal published the revelation on May 11th, attributing it to sources familiar with the matter. The report also said the UAE's military is equipped with Western-made fighter jets and surveillance networks that enabled such operations. One reported target was a refinery on Iran's Lavin Island, according to the Wall Street Journal's account. That refinery strike reportedly took place in early April and sparked a large fire at the site. The damage reportedly knocked much of the refinery's capacity offline for months. Lavin Island sits in the Persian Gulf, making any strike there strategically and politically sensitive. H.A. Hellier said, and I quote, "The Emiratis made it clear early on that they didn't want this war. But it's also clear that since the first Iranian strikes on the UAE took place, Abu Dhabi's been quite transparent that they see the regional picture as having changed dramatically. Abu Dhabi hasn't confirmed what they have targeted, or even if they have targeted, but from the early days of the war it seemed only a matter of time before we saw increased kinetic involvement of different Gulf states in the war." Unquote. If confirmed, the move would mark a significant shift by the UAE toward more direct use of force in regional conflicts. The timing is also notable because the strike was said to have occurred near the period of a declared ceasefire. The Wall Street Journal reported that the attack happened around the time Trump was announcing a ceasefire in the Iran war. The revelation underlines just how fragile the ceasefire has become, as U.S. Iran peace efforts remain stuck in deadlock. On May 11th, Trump said the Iran truce was on massive life support, fueling renewed concern that fighting could flare again.
You mentioned that you're already meeting with the generals on Iran. You rejected a deal from Iran over the weekend. Can you tell us anything about that proposal and what, if any, effort will be made to break this deal?
Yeah, it was just unacceptable. You know, a lot of people said, well, does he have a plan? Yeah, of course they do have the best plan ever. I mean, Iran has been defeated militarily, totally. They have a little left. They probably built up during this period of time. We'll knock that out in about a day. But I have a plan. You know, it is a very simple plan. I don't know why you don't say it like it is. Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. They're very dangerous. They're very volatile. It's a terrible thing that's happened over there. They've killed 42,000 people in the last 2 months. 42,000. At least that's what we know of. 42,000 people. They killed numerous people over the last week, but they killed 42,000 people a month and a half ago. They were unarmed protesters, not at all violent protesters, and they started taking them out, shooting them. So we're not going to let them. That's the plan. You know, people say, "What's the plan?" The plan is very simple. The blockade, first of all, was a part of military genius, just like Venezuela was military genius. We have the greatest military in the world by far, and we're stocked up with great ammunition. We have much better stuff than we did 2 months ago when we first did the attack, which knocked them for a loop. But very simple. Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. They can't have it. And if they did have it, the Middle East would be gone, Israel would be gone, and they'd hit Europe probably next. We're doing the service to the world. And this has gone on for 47 years. Other presidents and leaders of other countries that have the power should have done it, but they didn't do it. But it's a very simple plan. Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon, and they won't have a nuclear weapon. And they didn't want to go that far. If you can believe it, they didn't. How stupid. Are they stupid people? They didn't want to believe it. They think that, well, I'll get tired of this, or I'll get bored, or I'll have some pressure. But there's no pressure. There's no pressure at all. We're going to have a complete victory. We've already, in theory, had a complete victory from the military standpoint. The military, look, their Navy is dead. They had 159 ships. Right now they have 0, other than the little speedboats that go around that got taken out 8 a day by us. They have no Air Force. They have no anti-aircraft. Now, they probably put the shoulder jobs into service over the last 3 weeks, probably. But essentially, they have no anti-aircraft, they have no radar. And frankly, their leaders have been killed at the first level, second level, and half at the third level. And then they come back and they want to negotiate, and they give us it's a stupid